Hello, everyone. My name is Don McCarthy. My pronouns are he, him, and we are playing Uncanny Echo with the Gauntlet. We are playing the first of three, and tonight we are doing the Heist, where a bunch of mundane bank robbers are trying to rob someplace. More of that as we play. Let's get everyone to do a quick intro in character keeper order, if that's okay. Players and then characters.
I'm Ludo. I go by any pronouns. Do I go ahead with character or we rotate first?
Yeah, I think character as well now.
Okay, so I'll be playing the architect, Sybil, a socialite that wears the mask of a pop idol, which may or not be the creator of Minecraft herself. And they have someone that has a soothing demeanor. Their type of leadership is very empathetic and trying to understand people, and it kind of raises a bit of questions why they are doing this heist, and I assume they have put this crew together, and I guess we're gonna find as we play out.
Great.
Cool. Hi, my name's David. I go by he, him pronouns. I'm playing the Trigger this evening. The Trigger's name is Jem. He is he's a guy who I see him in kind of like high-end tracksuits, essentially, and he wears a mask. His mask is Elvis. He's quite an intense individual. He's here to put the muscle on people, and that very much shows in his personality. He's doesn't hesitate, moves forwards, gets things done.
Okay, nice.
Am I next? That makes sense. Sorry. I am Pearl. I use she, her pronouns. I will be playing the lookout. And I go back to the page. I didn't give. Oh no, I did. My name is Finn, and I have the look of a socialite because I think as a lookout, I tend to infiltrate places. So sometimes I need to get to high-end things and blend in. But my mask is of a nun because my demeanor is confusing. What else are we saying about ourselves for this? Anything?
I think that's close enough for now. Yeah, we're gonna find out everything else as we go along. Cool.
I'm Alan, he, him. I'm playing Felix the techie, also he, him. Felix is a townie. I see him probably in slightly scruffy clothes, maybe overalls when necessary on the job. He's a townie. He's wearing a President Trump mask. Underneath the mask, he is Asian. His demeanor is know-it-all because he's a techie. And that is Felix.
Okay, great. So I think before we have our flashback vignettes to establish more about your characters and why they're on the job, let's have a quick establishing shot of the city, of the neighborhood where the building is, where the heist is going to take place. I'm wondering, is this what time of night it is? How busy are the streets, and all of those kind of establishing details. What I think, let's find out about that from Sybil first. What's the area around the building like?
I would say that it's this very financial district way, it's all apartment block, it's all office block after office block, each competing to be the highest one, and with company buildings, company cafe houses, company restaurants, so that you can work there over time without, from day in to day out, without ever seeing the light of day when you're out of the building. That so you have all these towering buildings, and then you have massive dilapidated streets that basically during the day they are desert towns, uh, and during the night it's these haunting shiny monoliths lingering about. So there's this very artificially funneling feeling to it. It's very oppressive.
Great. Jem, whether if there's any people on the streets, like how crowded it is, and what do they seem like to you? Do they smell like prey or something else?
So yeah, I think this is one of those places where during the day, during the working day, from essentially from 9 to 5 during the week, it is heaving and bustling, and there's people going backwards and forwards, and a lot of life on the street. But in the evenings, and especially at the weekends, it's a ghost town. It's absolutely deserted, and it's you just get those long echoing walks down empty streets. And I think the people here have that air that they think they're safe from everything because they're masters of their world, but they don't realize how wrong they are.
Nice. Finn, what kind of scary stories have you heard about this place? Rumors on the street?
I think that there are rumors that everyone looks pretty normal, but there is sort of like a shadow society, and no one's sure what they do. But that they are maybe not entirely the same as regular humans, and that whatever their goal is, it's not something mundane like getting a lot of money or power. It's something weirder, but nobody knows because you can't get in, and no one will talk about it. No one in it will talk about it.
Okay, great. And Felix, in terms of how have you been able to scope out this place without being detected?
Oh, technology is our friend. Because it's a bustling financial center during the day, surveillance cameras are everywhere. But of course, that means that everybody can watch if they know how. And so Felix has been ripping off the surveillance video for days and days and days and weeks. So he knows exactly how this place ticks. And there are things going on at night. But as Finn has said, the first rule of secret shadow society is you never talk about secret shadow society.
Great. And are you? Maybe I'll stick with you, with Felix. What kind of a car, or what's your approach to get to where you need to be? Where does the camera first pick up the group?
I think it needs to be one of those kind of street cleaner trucks that's going along sweeping the curb, but we've repurposed the back of that to hold. Oh yes, to hold the getaway car. Yeah, so kind of like a garbage truck, but with a vroom out the back.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's go back around the table and get some establishing flashbacks. These are all the same, so let me read that out. Flashback before entering the bank that explains your motivations for robbing it and what was surreal about how you obtained the job in the first place. So let's start with Sybil again.
So we get a ship that it's a massive Russian oligarch style yacht, and there is massive socialite party going on, and the ship is, you can see the distant lights of the great banks and casinos of Macau, and as things going on the ship, we see Sybil. We see their muscle and towering, mingling around the other people, and this was a strange gig for them. They were invited to this party from all the way across the world, and they don't really know why. And they're trying to enjoy themselves in the party. I mean, this is their life, this is what they do, but they just cannot get into it. And as the party goes into the small hours, as people retreat, they are approached by the host. And all the host says is, I know your secret, and I think we can help each other. I need something that belonged to my family that has fallen in the hands of others, and I need you to get it for me.
Great stuff. Jem, the same question for you.
Yeah, so I think we see a few sort of establishing shots of Jem sort of hustling around the local streets, selling moody watches, all this sort of thing, and also some shots, cleaning tables in a bar that just has that sort of seedy atmosphere to it, sort of like dull red lighting everywhere, and illicit transactions going down in every booth. And I think we see like another shot of sort of Jem sat in one booth and somebody else sat in the booth sort of behind them, obviously sort of talking without being seen together. And this person, sort of saying, "Kid, I need you to do a job. The money's good." Gives the few details that we see, We sort of see them get up and walk out, and as they're just leaving the door to the bar, they sort of turn back for a minute, and we see their face. And Jem sort of starts as they kind of head out the door, and then we just see like a pan back to sort of it over in like the back half of the bar. There's just a little shrine set up with some incense and candles burning, and a few portraits in it, and the man's face is in one of those portraits.
Okay, and Finn.
So I think we sort of have a zoomed out shot of a sort of fancy party somewhere, probably a private party, with like everything's pretty swanky. You've got, I don't want to say smooth jazz because, yeah, but you know, swanky, fancy party music. Maybe some better kind of jazz than smooth jazz. And everyone's just sort of milling about and not being particularly genuine with each other or whatever else. And it sort of zooms into Finn sitting at the bar. And she's handing an envelope to someone and saying, "All right, so job's complete then. Hope to hear from you again soon." And she goes to take her martini glass. I realized I'm using my hand to pretend I have a martini glass, but you can't see it. And looks over at it because it's almost empty and she's going to order another one. And underneath there's like a cocktail napkin. And the cocktail napkin has written under it, "They're real. We know that you know. If you'd like to know more, call this number." And it is about said secret society, and so you see her kind of very politely exit the party, make a phone call on her cell phone that you can't hear, and then sort of like look around, and that's the end of her beginning shot.
Nice. Felix.
Yeah, we see Felix in a Shanghai basement, where that's where he normally works from. And we see him kind of busily working. He sees code on the screen. He's hacking something for someone. I think in the corner of the screen, it splits, and we see some red lights go green, and guys in balaclavas and overalls going through doors, and then they go around a corner, and a flashing light on the video camera goes dead, and it just droops. And he's just humming to himself because this is going all to plan. This is just the way that Felix likes things to work, and it is because he's Felix. And then we notice in this basement where he's securely locked away, there's just a slight haze in the ventilation grill, and we see a sense of something coming into the room, something that's not just air, and then we see Felix going boom, cut to black, and then when it comes up, he's surrounded. He's in a white boxy room. With a member of the Chinese security services opposite him, and this guy is saying to him, "So, would you prefer the next 20 years in a re-education camp, or are you interested in an alternative?" And for the first time, we see Felix suddenly kind of, oh shit, and the next thing we see is him hustled out of a building into a helicopter.
Okay, great. So let's do some establishing of the obstacles, the first 3 obstacles at least that you're going to hit. I suppose that's just the type of obstacle that you would hit, be it like security cameras or security guards or a lot of witnesses or whatever it is, anything that you can think of that is going to stop you from getting what you're after. There will be 2 more after that, which I will come up with, and then the last one, the 6th one, is the vault itself. So yeah, we can have a bit of out of character discussion to decide on that, and then when we hit those, everyone can fill in some details about the room that obstacle appears in. Yeah, so whatever you want.
I mean, obviously, I'm bound to say something technological, and so I have this idea that somehow I think maybe the entry to the building from the helipad on the roof has a retina scanner keyed to the members of the board.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Do you think that should be the first one? Or is that much later on?
On the grounds that I quite like the idea of having to come in at a high level. I'm not quite certain how, whether this is a zip wire from an adjoining building or something, because we've got this lovely picture from Ludo of these really tall buildings and these deep canyons in between. So I'm quite taken with that as a starting point, because I've got a nice idea for a flashback of how we get around it.
That's cool for me. Even if I'm presuming that the street cleaner will be in the best position for when you're escaping, so you can
that's what I've got.
Drive out the back in your Lamborghini or whatever it is.
I was rather hoping for a Mini.
Well, I mean, it's a classic. Is it one of the new ones or one of the old ones? That's.
It has to be a souped-up old one, mustn't it?
Yeah.
Because we can get 2 of those into the back of the dumper truck.
You can choose your own car, obviously, but minis are a classic of the genre, right? Especially multiples. Okay, so sorry, Pearl, you dropped out there. We were talking about the first of those obstacles, which is a retina scanner coded for members of the board on the rooftop next to the helipad. So that's going to be exciting. Cool. Okay. How about the other 2? Anyone have any ideas?
I think we can double down on the idea that not all the stuff is entirely human and has motivations that go beyond the very human motivations about wealth and power. Maybe there is a special number of security guards that they seem out too quiet. They always seem to pop up where the least expected, and they never seem to take shifts off, and they don't mingle with the rest of the staff. And we have these pretty much unpredictable, highly competent, inhumanly dedicated staff that we need to disable somehow.
I can expand on that further if we're interested. I think when I got my mysterious, I didn't get the phone call. When I made the mysterious phone call from the napkin, I was warned that there might be people from this group, the nameless group, who would be looking out for anyone who might want to interfere, and that they didn't have traditional weapons but could be dangerous. So we're probably not looking at guns, but we don't know what we are looking at.
I'd like to put on the table now that Felix thinks all this hocus pocus shit is just that. This is just rumor and misinformation. He has a complete list of the entire, employment rota, and they're all there. Don't worry.
And they're even paying into health insurance. I mean, what kind of, inhuman would do that?
I'm sure all of my worldwide network of informants are just completely full of it. So no need to worry whatsoever.
Okay. And the third one?
I can only think about the vague idea of hostile architecture. Like there's something within the building that is just going to be a trouble.
Dangerously low. I mean, do you want to go surreal or do you want concrete? Because I'm just thinking dangerously low barriers overlooking the atrium.
Oh, that there is a series of balconies everywhere.
Yeah. I was thinking of some sort of again just from the images of the place, just some sort of like Panopticon type thing where it's like just somewhere where there's lots of witnesses and it's difficult to get past unseen.
Yeah, and you never know if you are actually cleared or someone is watching. Yeah, that's very.
But I like the idea of dangerously low balcony railings, health and safety, not gone mad or gone definitely mad. I don't know what the best way of describing that is. Okay. So, fun for all the family. I think do we open the heist with you on a neighboring building across a chasm that is substantially higher than your target? And how does this work out?
Could I just start? We start with the truck, and there's a cone at either side of it, and a note on the windscreen saying, police have been informed, broken down. Police have been informed, and then we scan up because we want the audience to think that we're in the van.
Cool, good. So, so what's your plan for getting across this dangerously wide chasm? Who's taking the lead on this one?
Guys, I said I could get us through the retina scanner. I didn't say I could get us to the retina scanner.
I mean, I've possibly played too much Just Cause, but I want to say wingsuits.
Excellent. Well, I mean, that's one box ticked in my life goals. So yeah, I think this is obviously someone whoever are these like 2-person wingsuits, or is everyone going across, or is someone going to be sitting in the van doing control? What's the usual kind of heist gang setup dealing with?
I imagine we don't have a usual because we're all specialists who've been called in for this mission that none of us are quite sure of what's going on, although some of us assume it's more normal than others. So I think that we're going to have to find a way to work together without really knowing each other's skill sets and whatnot. But at least on my end, I'm assuming that if everyone else who has been called in is as well established in what they do as I am, I should probably trust them to be able to handle their end of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd prefer to fly alone because I'm also carrying quite a lot of kit.
Okay. I guess if there's one person who has done this kind of thing before, maybe I will get them to make the roll to get it done. To judge the wind and all that kind of stuff, or at least to tell everyone else what the right thing to do is. I'll give you a hint. This one is rolling. Getting it done is rolling with steady. So,
I'm willing to take the lead as it was my idea, but if someone else wants to take over, then that's fine by me.
I can take the lead. I imagine that getting places covertly is something that I probably do. It's so I have, what I have, my gear thing. Am I allowed to have other gear, or is it like that's the only stuff I have?
I think the gear is obviously written in a way that maybe suggests a traditional bank heist. You come in the door with your mask and your gun and your whatever else. But I think, given that you know what to expect, it's entirely fair to say you have what's needed to overcome those obstacles.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I keep in my standard infiltration pack. What are those things called? Like you can sort of like a grappling hook type thing.
Yeah.
And that I've got sort of a fancy one that you can like swing over and it'll hook on. And once you hook it and lock it, the cord, which is like sort of looks like woven metal, becomes fully stiff. So you can, if you're good at like tightrope walking, you could walk across it, but you can also sort of climb across it using your hands, and it's not just going to go limp. So that is how I intend to get across the roof, and anybody who wants to follow me that way, who doesn't have a wing pack, is welcome to do so.
I think that, as I look across the team, I'm thinking I'm not certain Jem can operate a wing pack. But I'm definitely flying.
Okay, so whoever is, I think that's a good opportunity for Finn to stake the claim of getting it done, and then anyone who wants to follow in their footsteps or wing path can do so without any additional risk. Whether you clip on or whatever to the high tensile wire. Okay, so do you want to roll plus steady, and let's see how it goes?
Yes. My thought is that if I go first, on this, whether or not people like that, wings are more likely to be noticed than someone like quietly climbing across. So I can get like a lookout advantage, hopefully, unless I roll really badly. So that's an 11 without, so it's a 12 total.
Cool. That'll do. So, what that is, you get it done correctly, swiftly, or precisely, right? So no unforeseen circumstances, and no complications. So why don't you describe how Finn goes across and helps everyone else? Whether they're happy to use your talents or not. How you help them all get across safely.
So I think that I actually like tightrope walk essentially from building to building. and then like jump off the edge of the building and sort of land and look around. And there's nobody else on the roof. Like the retinal scanner and the helipad are over there, but there aren't any guards technically on the roof. So I signal to everyone to come across. And I'm happy to leave it up to each player whether they use their wing pack or climb across the line or whatever they want to do. But I have sort of cleared the way in terms of like needing to worry about what we'll find on the other side. But I'm interested to hear how people decide to go across. I feel like it's funnier if they...
Yeah, sure. Why don't we just do a quick addition to that description from the others? Sybil, how do you follow that?
So Sybil nods approval as Finn flies through the air as if it was natural, and I see that everyone is very good at what they do. And then they clip on to the fiber of the cable, and they slide on. And as they land near to Finn, yeah, I love flying, but those things are hell to pack up, and I kind of want to have them for later.
Yes, I think that it's cooler if one flies. So I'm just going to put a kind of a hook across the cable, looped on, and just zip wire across.
Cool. How about Jem?
Jem is going to take a running leap off the side of the building and unfurl his wingsuit to glide down onto the roof.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that that's a good mix of approaches from everyone. So yeah, there's either you land on the helipad or you kind of clamber up without too much problem, and there's this what looks like a really secure door just kind of off this ramp down from the helipad, with the retinal scanner as identified in your research or the dossier you received. What's strange about this helipad? Is there something unusual in its configuration or the surface? Maybe Jem can tell us what's going on that makes him uneasy.
So so I think it's just a small thing. It's nothing like earth-shatteringly odd. But as Jem kind of comes into a role on the helipad and breaks his landing, notices that rather than having those kind of flashing lights around the helipad and around the sort of the H symbol in it, it's all like big, thick church candles marking the landing spot.
That is weird.
Yeah, did Jem say that it's not really weird? I think that's really weird. To the point that when Felix lands, he kind of looks around at this, and you can see him contemplating, I've still got the wingsuit. I could just jump off the edge now.
To what end?
Escape.
Like just bail on the operation?
I'm just thinking about it. I mean, you do not light a helipad with thick church candles.
I mean,
Do you?
told you they were weird.
Rich people are the same everywhere. What tells more extravagance than expensive church candles on a helipad?
I think Felix is going to pick one up and put it in his backpack because I think he wants to check later that they're not just some kind of posh technological light.
Yeah, so I think everyone should add some kind of detail to the retina scanner, or you can add something to the weird ass candlelit helipad if you want. But the obstacle as such is the retina scanner.
Can I offer one?
Go ahead.
You know, the way they're normally arranged, well, my experience of retina scanners is limited, but I think the way they're normally arranged is that there's somewhere for you to go like that. Yeah. So the gap where your nose goes in is on one side of it. In this circumstance, the gap is in the middle. And the retina scanner is mounted above the nose gap.
I'll expound on that a bit. I think that if you look really at the retinal scanner and the helipad, you realize that like the helipad is just too small for like any helicopter that we would be familiar with. But then the like eye spots on the retinal scanner are too big. And neither one makes sense.
I mean, it makes perfect sense, really, if you think about it later on. Cool. Sybil, how about you?
So, when one gets closer to the helipad, there's something odd. I mean, other. Not only it's, basically a glorified parking space, this one actually has some pretty complicated apparatus on top. And anyone that spends a few minutes studying it sees that there is some kind of pressure and lock system that is tied to the retinal scanner. As in, that only if something is actually parked on the helipad and engage and recognize it, will the retinal scanner expose itself.
The casing for the retinal scanner itself, rather than being that kind of generic painted metal or whatever variety it is, it's made out of beaten bronze.
I have a follow-up question for Sybil about the pressure pad on the helipad that enables the retina scanner. Is it, when it was probably Felix landed on the helipad in his wingsuit, is that when the retina scanner popped out ready for action?
Yeah, but probably close at the moment that Felix left out of it.
Okay. So, we are, maybe people in the Heist group aren't putting this one together, but we are all knowing that it's like a human-shaped or human-sized weight on the. We need some other name than helipad now.
Landing pad. Yeah, it's a landing pad.
Yeah, it's a landing pad. Okay. Yeah. So, who wants to take stock of this obstacle to get by it?
I think that given that Felix claims to have done the prep on the retina scanner, I think he ought to take stock. because this is a slightly more complicated piece of apparatus than on distant observation, or indeed the perusing of the building architectural specifications. They are slightly different from what they found on this roof. So taking stock is savvy, isn't it? So
yes, savvy.
So that's 2D plus 2. That's that's 10. So on a 10, on 10 plus, the MC will tell you its weakness or weaknesses, and you can take +1 forward on using this information. So this appears to be really strange, and the first solution would be somebody needs to sit on the helipad till we come back out. But that's not in the plan. So what's the other alternative?
I think the other alternative is in your pocket, right? I think the worst thing you can do is try to scan your eye. You must act, as if you have an eye in the center of your forehead. But if you if you relight that candle and hold it, there's some connection there. It's gonna do the job, even if that makes no sense.
Okay. Would this be a good time to flash back to how I was going to solve this previously?
Yeah, indeed. So your
I'm looking to trigger eliminate an obstacle with technology.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, candles are a very, old school definition of technology, right? But maybe you have something else in mind.
I suppose that what was in my mind, the original plan, was that we would flash back to see Felix entering one of the nearby buildings late at night as a cleaner. He's trundling the trolley along. He comes up against the wall just at the end of the day. He goes into a toilet that overlooks the building we're breaking into. And it overlooks, or it's level with, the executive floor, all the corner offices. Oh, not all the corner, but and then we see him getting what looks like a very short shoulder-mounted missile, which he plugs against the glass in building 1, and then you see through the eye lens. He's tracking the executives, the members of the board, who are around a boardroom table. And then when they settle down, he picks on the one in the middle opposite him. And when the man looks up, you see it go click, and you've got to zoom into the eyeball of said executive, and a kind of image captured comes up. And then he does that 2 or 3 times. And that's what he was going to use to get through the retinal scanner. This new arrangement is somewhat confusing to him. But I think what he's going to try to do is the candle. There are lots of candles on the helipad. The helipad is weight sensitive. We need to have that weight sensitivity continuous. So I think the other thing in his pack, because I think it says gear, any kind of tech you want. So can we imagine something that's the flip side of a car jack? What this does is to latch onto the ground and a strut underneath the pad. And then as he cranks it, it just pulls the pad down from below rather than being weighted from above. And so as he carefully notches this down, That's when the bronze or brass scanner comes out. And then he's just struggling a bit with the candle. So he's thinking, do I put the candle to the lens? Do I put, because I've got this little kind of eyeball shaped latex model with the images that I can just click through the images till one of them works. And he's kind of just wondering, how do I link the candle? Do I need to light all the candles? So I think what he's going to do is put the candle back, light all the candles, crank the thing down so the little kind of pop-up scanner comes out, and then he's going to try his latex eyeball by leaning his face with the eyeball here instead of there up against it. That's the plan.
Okay.
So I want. Oh,
go ahead.
Just a clarifying question. We have determined that it seems like you need to have an eye in the middle of your forehead in order for this to work. The execs that you got the pictures of their eyes, did they have eyes in the middle of their foreheads?
They did not, or at least not one that was open. So I must say, Felix is taking a bit of a punt here on the grounds that if they do have a third eye, it has the same retinal pattern as one of the ones in the other side of their noses.
Okay. By all means.
Does this Felix's kind of strange behavior, obviously having to work this out on the fly as he ditches his perfectly envisaged plan, does this give anyone else a moment of pause or some kind of a sense of a need to intervene? Jem or Sybil or Finn jump in.
I'm torn. I mean, I sort of do want to intervene, but what I'd really rather do is take stock to see if there's a way in that doesn't involve the retinal scanner, because I'm just not convinced that that's going to work well. So if there's another way to just get in the building, I'd rather bypass it for now.
Yeah. So, sure. So are you looking for some way, like at this door to get around the retinal scanner, or are you going like broader than that to say some other entrance into the building on the rooftop, or maybe
Yeah, I
over the
think I'm
rooftop?
looking around the roof for any like hidden entrances or like fire escapes, but that don't go all the way down, that maybe go to like a balcony that we could break into or something like that, just to see what our options are. And like maybe simultaneously as Felix is like messing with candles and things, so I don't need to intervene yet because he's still fussing about. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah. So roll to take stock. That is plus savvy.
I'm 2 savvy. All right. So that's a 10.
Okay. So yeah, I think there are. It's kind of strange, right? There's this really obscurely secured doorway, but on the pretty much right underneath the helipad, and maybe on the other side of the roof, there's like a normal maintenance panel, which like you need a really basic tool to open, or not at all. It's just like a flip hatch. So not secured at all, right? But whether it goes to the right part of the building, who knows? But this will get you inside.
I suppose we don't know whether the helipad gets us into the right part of the building either, or the door by the helipad. I imagine that inside of either door, we could meet something we are not thrilled to be meeting. So I'm just going to point out to Felix that there is this other door that does not involve complicated eye scanning maneuvers, and perhaps we could just like have a quick chat and consider trying the door that seems like we could just go through it.
Well, look, Felix has thought this through, Finn, and you can take a chance on a door. Now I know exactly what's behind this one, so
And what is that?
Well, what you've got is a short corridor and the executive elevator shaft.
Any guards?
Not in the specs.
I'm sure the specs are entirely accurate for our...
Well, let's at least give Felix an opportunity. It's good to have a backup plan. Good work, Finn.
Thank you.
Now, Felix, please show us your skills.
You lead the way. I'll go last.
And so, latex eye, pasted on the forehead, the candles are lit, the pressure pad is activated, and out pops and in he goes.
Okay, so I think you're getting this done, and you will have a +1 bonus for acting on the answer to taking stock.
Okay. So
plus
that
steady.
is plus steady. Which is I think only 1. Yeah. So that's 2D plus 2 then, all told. Oh, that is another 10. Oh no, it's an 8. Damn. So get things done on an 8. You hesitate or flinch due to an unforeseen circumstance. It takes longer than you thought, or there is a cost or complication in the doing. Do I pick or do you?
I think you pick.
I think that this takes longer than anticipated, so that the job clock is kind of ticking round, because it turns out that that the candles need to be lit in a certain order, it appears, or and so he's experimenting with, okay, I've got this, goes back, puts the candles out, lights them in a pattern, goes back and checks, lights them, checks, repeated efforts until somebody stops him or it works.
So yeah, and it could be anything really. I don't know how many candles there are, how many different orders there are, but maybe on the third time, that light, the base of the bronze casing kind of starts to shine green, and the door opens.
Well, this isn't suspicious at all.
Now,
flashing candlelight from orbit.
Clearly, there must be an explanation that is not so obvious. These people, they like to spend a lot of money to make their very shiny toy look very antiquated. I guess it makes sense for rich people when every working class person can have a smartphone.
Just wanting to point out again that the helipad is too small for any vehicle we know about, and that while Felix's excellent bypassing of the security system helps us get in, we should probably be prepared for something that has an eye in the middle of its forehead to be somewhere in the bank. I just feel, as the lookout, it is my job to remind everyone that what Felix had to do to get us in implies maybe there are some things to look out for. That's why I'm the lookout.
Well, at least something that we do not have to worry about is their deep perception.
So I think with that general sense of foreboding, as you cross the threshold, it's on the hour, so we're going to take a break till 10 past. Yeah. Okay, cool. See you then. Okay. I mean, mysterious beings who don't appear on camera eating things that they'd rather us not. I mean, it's very on message. Or it is now. Okay, so welcome back. Yeah, so you get through the door, and I believe we have a short corridor to an executive lift. I want to say that the music in the lift is eerily familiar jazz, at least as far as Finn is concerned. Yeah, what's the how few buttons are in this lift, and what do they point towards? Let's hear from Jem.
Yeah, so I think the only button in this lift is attached to like the intercom, because this is a lift for the sort of people who have people to ensure they get to where they need to go.
So, how do you get around this kind of? Did you also voice print that executive across the chasm from that other building?
Sadly
Felix?
not. I was expecting the lift to be at the bottom, and that we'd have access to the lift shaft.
Well, that sounds very dangerous, right? The lift is usually, in my experience, is either where you are or you call it to be where you are, right? They don't just leave these doors open for anyone to walk into.
And no, I think there's certainly some doors that would need to be leave it open. Yeah.
So are you saying that the approach is, in fact, that instead of calling the lift, you would pry these doors open and get down the diehard way, or
that's why you bring people like Jem along, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Jem might need to get it done on this without causing undue noise or whatever. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. So, yeah, I think that Jem is going to like try and pry open the ceiling hatch that lifts in films always seem to have, if not in real life.
While Jem is investigating to see the best way to do that, I just want to ask Felix, you don't have any sort of like scanning technology that could tell us if there are like living things on the other side of that door, do you? Like a heat sensor or...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hang on. Knapsack. And you know that scanner in Aliens? Beep, 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 beep. It's nothing there.
All right.
So is this a motion scanner or a heat scanner?
Oh, it has to be a motion sensor.
Okay.
And he's probably repackaged it to look like the one from the movie.
And is Felix in fact reading it wrong, or?
That's inconceivable.
Okay.
I think he doesn't have to be reading it wrong, right? Like the fact that there's no movement doesn't mean there isn't anything there. It just means it's not moving. If it's a motion scanner.
Yeah.
I think that Finn just decides to go ahead and take the rear of the group at this point. She's the lookout. She's going to look out behind them. So
Excellent.
Carry on.
So, yeah, I think, Jem, do you want to roll to get it done to open your way into the lift shaft?
Sure thing.
That is plus steady. I guess it's not quite a question of can you do it. It's can you do it without bringing attention to yourselves.
Yeah, sure thing. That is an 8 in total.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, you hesitate or flinch due to an unforeseen circumstance. It takes longer than you thought, or there's a cost or complication in doing.
Yeah, so I think the complication. I think that Jem manages to get out onto the roof of the lift, but due to the design of the shaft, there's not much clearance here. It's because we're at the top. There is no more up than where we are. So it's pretty much just a little bit of clearance space between here and the mechanism, and there's no real way of getting like around the lift shaft and down at this point. So I think to seeing this, Jem kind of just reacts in the moment because that's kind of what Jem does, and just like wedges the crowbar that he's used to get out of the thing into the braking system to drop the lift down. Which is probably going to might cause some issues as he may not have complete control over where the lift comes to a stop.
I feel like I should intervene, but I don't think there's actually any way I can do so. So I'm just going to take a step back and keep my peripheral vision on the door we came in through, just in case we need to go back.
Yeah. Of course, the second obstacle that we establish is the unnatural security. So I think we'll find out just how dangerous the escape route open to you is. Because Finn notices maybe before it actually opens, maybe there's some sense of activity on the other side of the door near the landing pad. Maybe the door on this side is that same kind of burnished bronze, hammered bronze as the device was, and it starts to glow green, like a moment before it opens. And in walks I guess, very, very average, indescribably average man in a professional-looking suit. Yeah, so let's go around the table and add some details to this security guard. Felix, you're no, actually, let's start with Finn because you're up close.
Wait, so he comes in behind us through the door we came in?
He comes in, behind you as a group, but right in front of you.
Oh, bother!
You were checking this place out, guarding the rear, right?
Yes, I was, because I was gonna stay out of harm's way.
Oh, okay.
But that never works in this game. Should have seen last time. Turned into a fish of some sort. So he's right there. I don't think there's any way I can avoid us being seen at this point. So I'm just gonna act like all of this is completely normal. Like, oh, hello there, sir.
And what do you notice about him that either seems normal or completely unnormal?
He doesn't blink. at all.
And are Sybil and Felix in a position to see this happen, or are they too intent upon Jem's progress?
No, Sibyl is actually was in middle point, and as the moment that they saw them approaching Finn, Sibyl drops the bag and goes forward in an attempt to help normalize the situation. Oh, finally, someone! I'm sorry, I'm dreadfully confused. I come here in behalf of one of your clients, and as they approach, they notice that there are not only the suits that they wear, they seem finely tailored. There does not seem to be obvious gaps between the fabric and the body of the bodyguard.
How about Felix?
I think probably you said the bronze door kind of glowed slightly, so I think he's standing with his back to Sybil and Finn and he just gets a slight reflection off a piece of metal. He says, will you stop moving back there? You're oh shit. And we'll back up against the lift doors because this is not his wheelhouse in any sense. And what is odd is that the skin is incredibly smooth, wrinkle-free. Yeah, like some kind of very smoothly rendered piece of digital creation.
Like they have Facetune, the app, but they can just use it on their actual faces.
Yeah.
Okay, who needs to sleep tonight? That's all I'm thinking, right? When you said you back up against the lift doors, those are not the ones that Jem has been jimmying open, right? Obviously not.
Oh shit, I'd forgotten about that. So I think it may well be.
Do you fall into the elevator shaft?
I'm giving you the, like, you can, if you forgot about that, you can rewind and save yourself at the last moment, or you can just say, oh, obviously I didn't step into that gap, or whatever you prefer.
I think it's more fun if I do step into that gap and then have to do something.
Or is Jem wise to your bizarrely techie-like ineptness and
literally, I think this is just a step back in shock. And whoa!
Okay, does the Jem want to save poor Felix, or?
Yeah, I think Jem is going to kind of reach down and try and grab Felix by the, well, anything before he goes over the edge.
Okay, I think this is definitely getting it done, keeping your shit together. Is Jem in a kind of precarious position, or just the right place, right time?
I think, yeah, he's kind of like hanging from down from the top of the lift still, like where he's been like working at the outside of the doors, and so I think he's going to just reach down. So he's probably not in the best position to do this, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so let's roll for that and see how it goes.
That's a 10.
That is why you bring people like Jem on these things.
So describe how you save Felix from certain excruciating pain, if not death.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I think I've been like on the top of the lift car itself, and I think as Jem comes out, the doors have just like pinged open. Probably not pinged, but I think he kind of leans down and sort of like as he's leaning down from the top of the car, he grabs Felix by the shoulders, sort of pushes back and kind of levers himself in so that he kind of almost does like a forward roll down from the top and into the body of the car. Probably sort of lands on top of Felix. It's maybe not a graceful landing, but an impressive maneuver in the first place.
Cool. Okay. So back at the doorway, I think with all of this going on, I think you've got a real opportunity to see what this guard is made of, Finn and perhaps Sybil. So did you want to take stock? Because this is definitely an obstacle, and you definitely want to bypass it.
Yeah, I want to help Finn. So Sybil is basically feeding around and showing some of the information that the mysterious client offered for the job, and basically tries to hope that the brain of the guard is as smooth as its screen.
And I think I'm actually taking a slightly different tactic, and hopefully one of the two will work. And I'm going to say, I'm so glad that you came along. I'm here to inspect the bank. There have been a series of heists in town, bank heists, and I've been sent to look at the security of your building. Thus far, it doesn't seem up to code. We were able to get in without too much trouble, and obviously the elevator shaft is having some issues. I'm sure that my colleagues are handling it. They are professional. But we are going to need access to the building.
Okay. So do you think that's taking stock? You're kind of trying to read them, or are you
I think I'm actually
applying
putting
pressure?
to them, really.
Yeah.
But which is too bad, because I think I do not have a very good stat for that.
Your resolute
Yeah,
is...
Yeah.
and I'm intervening,
Okay, go for it.
but I'm not very good at this.
So when you're intervening, you need to spend the hold that you unlocked by triggering one of your keys, right? You only get to help. You only get to intervene a certain number of times based on that. So I'm not keeping track of everyone's.
Well, I
I
only
think
have
it's
the
a basic
initial.
move, is it not?
Yeah, but you need to spend hold to do it, and that hold is what you get whenever you trigger a key. It's not.
I only have the initial key.
Okay, so you could say that you spent that to get a hold instead of to unlock a new move, if you want.
Yeah, let's go with that. And then I'm going to unlock a key by helping, so that will get the move.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So you both roll 2d6. Finn for the putting the screws to someone, which is plus resolute, and then Sybil for intervening. And basically, you take you swap out the lowest of Finn's dice for the highest of Sybil's.
Yeah, I only got a 5, a 3, and a 2. Not very helpful.
Wait a second. 6. Like a 4. But how does it work?
So you drop the lowest of your 2 dice, and then
That would be the 1.
You add in the highest of Sybil's roll, which is a 3.
So that's actually an 8.
Okay, cool. Worked out.
Great job, because we definitely would have failed individually. Teamwork.
There you go. Teamwork, yay. So on a 7 to 9, so on a 10 plus, they either do what you say or else make you carry through on your threat. I guess the threat was kind of implied, right? On a 7 to 9, in addition to those choices, they can also choose one from the following: tell you something or give you something they think you want to know, do what you say, then attempt to signal for help, cause a scene, or run. Okay, so yeah, I think they're going to cause a scene. They're going to quite obviously kind of disbelieve you. We were not notified of any such incursion. Maybe I should call my supervisor.
If you had been notified in advance, it wouldn't be a surprise inspection. Obviously.
We do not deal with surprises, and we are never heisted.
Well, not yet. But perhaps I should call my supervisor.
Please do. And he takes out a mobile phone. I think it's a terrible, like it's a Nokia 3310 or something like that. It's like so obviously not what you would expect.
I have a radio, so I'm gonna pick up my radio and I think put it out. Hopefully Jem will hear it. I'm liking to think that somehow everyone will know that and be like, yeah, I need to speak to the supervisor of the inspection department. We're having a little bit of an issue here on the top floor of, so the name of the bank we're at. You know, do we write it down somewhere?
Are we going with HSBC, or are we changing it to some similar to but legally distinct?
I think for reasons of risk, we should probably have a different set of initials.
CHPC.
Yeah.
Yes, SHBC.
So I'm here on the top level of SHBC and trying to do our inspection, as we have been doing all over town since the series of heists began. And one of the employees here doesn't seem to want to cooperate with our surprise inspection. So if the supervisor could send someone to handle the situation, I would greatly appreciate it.
So is that the carefully constructed, prearranged signal for help, please help, shoot this guy in the face before he calls his supervisor and puts this whole job down the toilet?
I mean, I don't know that it's prearranged, but it's certainly like, hey, we're on the roof and there's someone else here who's not dealing with us well. Maybe the person with all the guns could come up. Although technically I have a weapon, but you probably don't want me to be the one trying to use it.
Yeah, well, that is happening. Sibyl is going to both buy time and go out of their way to de-escalate the situation. So they just barge in as the guard is trying to get on the mobile phone to get back and just trying to call his attention. I don't know what this deal is with Impexus, but please, I'm in deep trouble as it is. I came here in behalf of a client to pick up something from their vault. Here are their papers and their information and all the data. I just need someone to look at this. Please, will you do that? I should have done this already 30 minutes ago. I am late for the pickup, and this is something of extremely importance. You know that you know where we are. You know it's someone of the executive board that needs this.
So I think, in one hand, this guy is dialing his phone, and in the other hand, he puts his fingers perilously close to Sybil's throat, and that feels uncomfortable. And then his eyes seem to take on a greenish glow.
Well, all right.
Uh,
I'm getting out my gun or
uh,
concealed weapon of
what's
whatever nature it's supposed to be.
I think you can decide that is whatever you want, like a hold-out pistol or I don't know,
And it says
knife or something like that.
2 harm close reload, so I imagine it
Okay,
shoots
so
something.
sounds like a revolver or like a something
I
like that.
think what it actually if Sybil wants to try that, I don't want to get in the way. Otherwise, I'm going to pull out my super secret spy mini crossbow.
Okay, nice. um, yeah, I think you can try. You can try to do that as well. I guess you're just you're reinforcing, right? Your earlier helping with more of the sad story or more of the kind of the penalty of not keeping the customers happy, right?
Yeah, I'm trying, you also work for them, you know how they are. And I get a 7 on put the screws.
Okay. So yeah, I think what it will do is no, I think it accepts your tale of woe and tells you to continue along your way, but it will signal for help. So he is definitely continuing making his call. But it does seem to give you permission to, get down to do whatever business you're on. So,
Oh, good. So maybe, hopefully, there. So as I'm running downstairs, I call Felix. Felix, now that I'm inside, what do I have to do? Quick!
Can I just say, I'm a bit confused as to where we are, because I thought we were all in the lift. So I'm a little confused at this point as to where this is all taking place.
So I think you and Felix are in the lift, right?
but the lift is at one, or the lift with the
shaft.
open doors, right? Is
Yeah.
at one end of the corridor, and Sybil and Finn are at the other end of the corridor near the open door. So you're
Cool,
relatively
okay.
close. So you can definitely intervene.
No worries.
Yeah,
I was just
sorry.
because I thought we were all in the lift. So yeah, no. So I was a little. That's fine. That's fine.
I have radioed you for help also. So I'm hoping you will show up before I have to use my secret super spy mini crossbow.
So yeah,
But
I
if you
think
don't, I'm going to get it out right now because he's signaling for help. So either you show up or he's getting crossbowed.
So yeah, we'll leave that up to Jem how he wants to suddenly appear out of the lift section, and I mean, I'm sure you can shoot accurately with an Uzi at this kind of range without hitting your fellow heisters. That's your job description, right?
Actually, my plan was to just basically run along the corridor and whack the guy in the head with the crowbar. That.
Well, given we're both down there, I think because we're below the level of the floor, aren't we? Because I was going to fall down.
Yeah, but he Jem saved you, right? So you can be back up on the yeah. Whatever makes most sense to the both of you, but I think Jem is in a position to, maybe as this conversation is going on between the guard and Finn and Cyril, Jem has been on his way silently about to smack this guy's head off with a crowbar. That seems suitably, instantaneous violence for a trigger, right? So if that sounds like a plan for Jem, I think you can get it done to inflict violence. I think
Sure
that's-
thing.
Unless you have a specific one.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's only a 5. I am, however, going to. I do have a move that lets me bump that up to a 7 to 9, but it counts as a golden opportunity. So it's essentially, I get the 7 to 9 result, but you also get a hard move, I guess, is the. So I think. Let's see, on a 7 9, it's. I think that the cost is probably the cost is probably going to be just quite simply that the man in the suit gets the chance to like lash out at me as I hit him as well.
So yeah, I think you maybe describe your attack first and how it gets it done in terms of getting this guy out of the way, and then I'll respond with my.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I think we've kind of got that scene where Sybil is sort of on one side of the guard, explaining and flailing about with papers and the like. On the other side, Finn is drawing her crossbow, so has it behind her back, and I think we maybe just see that moment where the guard is just starting to turn around from Sybil to Finn, with like the kind of the illumination of the corridor behind them, and we just sort of see Jem leaping up with the sort of the crowbar raised like a sort of samurai sword as he brings it down onto the guard's head, with a kind of sickening thud.
So yeah, this should be a kind of fatal blow to anyone on the receiving end of this. When's the last time Jem did this to someone, and who were they to him?
Yeah, so I think we see a flashback to sort of like a kind of grimy alleyway somewhere, with the orange flashing lights of construction vehicles somewhere nearby, and a couple of guys in sort of dressed in a sort of similar way to Jenna, sort of like kind of fancy tracksuits and like some gold chains on, and I think one of them pulls out like a butterfly knife, and is demanding his weekly donation, and I think we sort of see Jem kind of backed up against a wall, and then he just comes up with this piece of kind of an offcut of piping, and breaks the guy's wrist, and sort of darts off further down the alleyway.
Yeah, so this guy definitely kind of buckles under the blow, but immediately upon this kind of what you would think is really a killing strike, he's in your face straight away, and what it's not the normal response to an attack like this, even if you had missed or something, but he sinks his teeth into your throat.
Crossbow time.
Crossbow time. I was waiting for that. Yeah, so dodge this. I mean, I don't know what quote you want to go with, but
I should probably get it done.
yeah, no, I don't think you need to make a move. I think you can just shoot this thing in the back of the head and be done with it.
Okay. I assume I can't aim for like the middle of his forehead, right? Like
I mean,
based on where he is, since he's biting. Yeah.
well, I think you'd be aiming for the back of his head, right?
Yeah. I was just
Yeah,
checking because like I'm thinking probably the hidden third eye is there, so I would try to shoot it if I could. But all right. So I shoot him in the back of the head with the crossbow.
Yeah, and that definitely does him in. Yeah.
Oh good.
Yeah. And there's a bit of quivering, and I think yeah, Jem is definitely bleeding from the throat a little bit. And there's like a shock of a little bit of blood comes out of the hole through which there's the bolt is poking out of the forehead right between the eyes. So that's an additional shock to the system, right? It's a good job the pressure on that bolt is calibrated exactly right, or else it could have been unexpectedly messy.
That's why it's a super secret spy mini crossbow.
There
It's
you
just
go.
for this kind of situation.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he never got to complete his dial-up on his Nokia phone. You should really be using quick dial next time instead of having to plug in all 11 numbers or whatever. Okay. So
I'd like to stumble to my feet, having the action all having happened while I've been in a bundle, and take stock of Jem's wound, and then use technology to overcome the obstacle.
So I think Jem, you're gonna mark in one harm for that. It's mostly weird, right? Rather than being, particularly harmful. I think it's more shaken than bleeding out or anything like that.
Oh, I mean, if he's not at risk, then I don't know how healing works in the game, but it would, because I've probably got some spray on skin and stuff to seal a wound up.
Yeah, there's a harm move, and it's basically I mean, I guess you could get it done to do something like help someone from bleeding out or whatever, but it's not really in scope for the game. But yeah, we can definitely do it. Yes, you did take stock in order to overcome an obstacle, so good to go on that key. Okay, so
yes, sorry, do I need to make the harm move?
yeah, so
Yes.
let's roll that now. You're
Sure
rolling
thing.
+1, which is
Yep.
the harm suffered. And you're looking for low.
Well, that's Snake Eyes, so
There you go.
yeah, it's a good time for it to come out.
Yeah, so it doesn't give a miss roll, which is kind of strange, and it seems even stranger to
Because I mean,
have that trigger a.
I was going to say, because I mean, I suppose technically that gives you a move, but
yeah, which seems a little bit odd. But yeah, I think maybe it's it looks a lot worse than it is, right? So you kind of wipe off the blood, and it's like a shaving cut kind of thing.
Yeah.
He never really got to sink his teeth into you,
Yeah.
right?
I'm going to sort of wipe the blood off and sort of just rub it down on my trousers. Man, who bites people when you're sober?
Glad you're all right, Jem. And I would like to say that was an insightful point. Who bites people when they're sober? Anybody else feeling like maybe we should be prepared for some more untraditional attacks here? What's the plan?
Brush up. Please tell me, what can I do, Felix?
How do you mean?
I'm already here on the executive suite. What do I need to plug in?
Oh, sorry. Are you not here?
No, I got clearance to advance.
Right. So have you
Although,
gone?
how did you
No.
advance if the elevator was like?
He
that?
just
Was
said
there a
he
stairwell?
just said that you would be able to advance, but you killed him before he could,
Oh, good.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'll let Felix do their thing instead then.
Well,
Well, but-
I would like to take stock of the body because this requires more than traditional solutions. So because I turned my second key, I've got all my base. When you take stock, you then use technology to overcome the obstacle, take +1 forward. So I'm hoping that by examining this, I can see if there's anything in my bag of tricks that would be more effective at instant kill than a crowbar. And conceivably more sophisticated.
Yeah. I mean, crowbars are very effective, but sophistication is not where they're at.
And if there's more than one of them, we only have the one crowbar. So I'll roll to take stock, which is plus savvy. So roll +2. Oh, close thing. So that gets to 7. When you take stock, then use technology to overcome the obstacle. Roll +1 forward, it stacks. So take stock. When you cycle, you tell me a weakness, except the information is vague or incomplete. So is there a technological way that you could hint at to take these down?
Let me think.
I mean, while you're having a think,
Yeah.
One of the things that we thought was odd about them was that they were peculiarly the junction between the collar and the skin. So first bit of examination is this someone wearing a suit, or is it a construct with a suit coating?
So yeah, I think the crowbar, the kind of damage between that and the crossbow bolt shows you that the whole thing. Wait, sorry, not the whole thing. The skin is part of the suit.
Okay.
Within which there is something else.
And the other thing I'm wondering is where the crowbar struck. Did it just dent, or crack, or what was the nature of the damage?
It's. I mean, did we say it hit the head or kind of the body, or I can't remember where exactly Jem was aiming for.
Yes, it was the head.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of it didn't seem to behave any differently than you kind of imagine it would have normally. So the kind of skin is sloughed off where it went because it just gouged out part of its face. And then inside, I think it looks vaguely human if desiccated. Yeah.
So
It's all a bit not
Yeah.
a bit. All very strange.
Yeah, okay then. So, yeah, I'm struggling to think of a technological solution on that basis. But if something comes to me, I'll take the +1 forward.
Okay.
Oh, electrocution. If it is fundamentally organic, albeit with this kind of sleeve over it, then it ought to conduct electricity.
Sure.
So what I think I'm going to do is improvise something to go on the back of Finn's crossbow bolts that give it a very profound charge. Yeah. So some high capacitance batteries that would discharge through a crossbow bolt. I know I've got them here somewhere.
So
The
some
crossbow
kind of
bolt did work by itself, I wish to point out.
Yeah, I just don't know whether did it work because he'd already taken a very large bang to the head.
Hard to say. Did you investigate the crossbolt wound much?
Only in as much as I think that what the impression I've got is that there's a kind of desiccated human skeletal system inside, but it looks like this spray on outside is
So like they're body
artificial.
snatcher, or not body snatcher, but like they're taking dead people and coating them in.
I don't know.
Skin?
It's the insides are desiccated, but it did bleed, didn't it? Did
That's
it?
true. A bit.
But
It did
only
bleed,
in
yeah.
the kind of surface skin layers.
Sybil, what
Yeah,
do you
there's-
think? You're the planner among us. You have a plan for this?
Sybil is not paying attention to the body. She's instead, leave the body be. We deal with that. If we deal with that, we should be going ahead. And Sybil is not her their usual soothing self, and instead they are scratching. They have put the mask up again, and they are thinking back to the plans and now that they are deep in the heart of the beast, what is the fastest way to the vault? So they try to take stock of the next obstacles ahead.
Because we're already running way behind time, aren't we?
Yeah,
We already got 2 delays.
Yeah. Let's so the next obstacle is the Panopticon, right? So let's say that in the plans, at least, and probably it's fairly accurate, is at the bottom of the executive lift, there's kind of an opening out into a hallway where it spreads across, 6 or 8 arms going to the different parts of the building. And at the end of one of those is the kind of lift into the vault, or maybe it's just a straight doorway into the vault. So then, like, getting across that kind of Panopticon-esque area is the next big obstacle for you.
So I guess I take stock to find a weakness on the Panopticon.
Yeah.
A wonderful 7.
So a helpful weakness, though vague or incomplete. We love those. So yeah, when this almost helpful security guard was telling you could go right ahead, he did he really seem like he was going to have to give you clearance, or was it that anyone coming down from the executive lift was assumed to be in the right place? So maybe the kind of the weakness is that anyone who comes the way you're coming is assumed to be meant to be there, right? But you don't know how that is verified, or if there's anyone looking specifically there anyway, just in case it's not someone who's on the rota.
Okay, folks, listen. Fly casual. Just keep to yourself and try to look like you belong here. They don't expect us to come through here, but I don't know how much time we have. So please, if you know something to speed up our place, please do. Otherwise, try to act normal, whatever that might be in this place. And they step forward, trying to.
So, Sybil, 2 questions about that plan. 1, should we maybe all take off our masks? It feels like acting normal while all wearing masks going into a bank is like a bit of a... They're like at cross purposes.
Yes, please. And as they take their mask, and please keep affairs of violence to yourself.
I mean, that's why the crossbow is a mini crossbow. It's discreet. But the other question, Sybil, is should someone make like a distraction?
That would be ideal. Felix, can you maybe mess up with the energy grid or something?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about repurposing some technology, because what I'm thinking is that we don't know. We could be seen when we come out of this lift, but we don't know whether we will be seen. The way
Felix.
Don't worry, guys. I've got this. Head for the vault, and I'm going to charge out of the out of the corridor, leap over one of the dangerously low balcony railings, and start firing an Uzi into the air.
While deploying your wings.
Yes.
I'm glad we added that last bit, because otherwise. Okay, that sounds spectacular.
I guess that's the plan then. Shall we head to the vault, everyone? As fast as possible.
So, I mean, that is not the textbook example of getting it done, but maybe it is now. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you know those snakos from before? They're back.
They've reappeared, have they?
Yeah.
Did they turn on the spot just to make you believe that it's not? Okay.
Just so I knew that was real.
Damn. So,
though I think I am going to once again use
the no hesitation move to bump it to a 7 to 9. Okay, cool.
Yep, but obviously it still opens me to it. And I think, I feel like this is a bit of a cheat in terms of my complication for this move, but it's going to be that, yes, I successfully cause a distraction, but everyone is watching me, and I think there is some sort of immediate response incoming to deal with me.
Okay, super. So you, like, as you jump and then start shooting and then deploy the wings, are you shooting at anything specifically, or just wildly?
Just probably specifically trying to not hit anyone who may be around, but no, other than that, probably trying to shoot some glass because that always looks impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to hand back your John Woo membership card if you don't shoot any glass in this scenario. Okay, let me come back to you because I need to think of that complication. The rest of you, like, walking very calmly across the Panopticon. I think that is suitably grandiose a distraction from Jem to kind of expose the weakness that if you look like you are meant to be there, you're meant to be there. I think that's the Achilles heel exposed in that weakness. So I'm not going to get you to roll to get that done. Yeah, you're in the lift to the vault. And this is a much more mundane lift, right? This is not just one button, nothing strange or verdigris about it. Just a regular, honest to God lift. Probably with a helpful vault button on it to send you on your way. Yeah, Jam, you're flying through the air, burning through your Uzi's magazine with reckless abandon, and then something lands on your back. It's one of these security guards with what looks like shadowy wings erupting from their back. Yeah, and its claws are kind of digging into your Kevlar vest, at least the straps around your shoulders, and it's trying to bite your head off, I think is the technical term. I guess if the others want to slow their advance across the Panopticon, they could intervene, but that would definitely not be normal for someone crossing the Panopticon. So I think that's up to you whether to basically stay behind and attract attention individually.
I feel like normal was lost when the shadow batwing thing landed and tried to bite someone's head off. So I'm going to go ahead and try to shoot it with my crossbow.
Cool.
Last time.
Are Felix and Sybil taking the golden opportunity and continuing down to the vault?
I was going to stop.
Help that. Felix, I'm going to need you.
I was going to stop, but since Finn has, I don't need to.
Okay. So yeah, Finn, let's intervene to try to get that thing that's on top of Jet again. I mean, this is turning out to be a painful pattern, huh?
It's true. I think. I was thinking I would get it done with shooting the thing, rather than intervening necessarily, because I don't really know what Jem is doing in order to help them out or stop them from doing something.
Yeah, Jem, are you, I guess, trying to bring your Uzi to bear or trying to fly away from this thing, or what is your kind of approach to dealing with this thing on top of you?
So I think as this thing is clawing at me, I'm going to I'd say look him in the eye, but my eyes are mostly obscured at the minute, but my mask is certainly going to look him in the eye and say, "You're some kind of demon vampire thing, and I knew this, and I drew your attention to me. Do you think I don't have a plan?"
And the plan was to kind of keep its attention on you while Finn could shoot it in the back of the head with a crossbow?
Quite possibly.
Okay. So this is you helping, right? Are you spending a hold to...
I was planning to put the screws on it.
Okay, cool.
If that seems appropriate.
That seems appropriate. Yeah. So, why don't you roll that first?
Certainly. So just to say, I assumed that my previous action unlocked one of my keys, which was to take on an obstacle head on by yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I've unlocked one that basically gives me advantage on this move. So I will just.
And your threat is like imminent violence, or is
Yeah,
this?
I mean, yes, yeah. And yeah, that's a 13 in total. So yeah.
Okay. So I think it is. Yeah, I mean, I think usually you would be used to people, backing down in the face of this, um, in the face of these threats or imminent violence. But this thing doesn't seem to care. It's going to make you fight in midair.
In which case, I will revert to what my plan is, which is to unload my Uzi in its face.
Yeah. Let's go to the vault. With Felix and Sybil, the door of that lift opens, and there's a very small foyer here, and across that there is another kind of very ornate bronze door, and in the middle of the foyer there is what looks like a drinking fountain. Or something. I don't know. It looks very strange.
Go straight to the bronze door, because it's a drinking fountain.
I think you probably need to take stock of this obstacle in order to bypass it.
So we see a flashback to a mundane situation that got very weird, and we see Cyril at the photo shot with a lot of all other high-class dilettantes and their entourage. And after a long day of shooting, we see Sybil going into the back rooms, backstage, and as they say, well, can you mind if I borrow? And they step in and they see a creature much similar to the guards leaning over a dead body. And we go back to the present, and Sybil just goes straight to the drinking fountain as if she had been here before. So I'm gonna take stock.
Yeah, I think that's a better opportunity to take stock of the obstacle. So you want to roll for Sybil on that?
The Return of the Awesome Seven.
Okay. So yeah, this will accept. Well, usually what it does is it accepts some kind of a sacrifice from the person getting through. But usually that's of a victim and not of yourself. But I don't think it cares what you give it to unlock the door.
Does that possibility flash through Felix's mind as well?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any experience to kind of lead you to that realization that this drinking fountain is?
No, I'm thinking more of assessing Sybil. Because if I was Sybil, I know what I'd be thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think I'm taking stock of Sybil.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's leave you there, and maybe we might hear if Sybil's thoughts are inclining in that direction after we find out what's happening to our action duo up above. Finn, are you so right before Jem unleashes an Uzi on this monster? I guess you're drawing a bead on it from up above. Um, you gonna take your shot or to get it done, or are you thinking of something else?
So I just wrote in the chat there was like a weird thing in my house a minute ago, so I lost track a smidge of what was going on. What happened with the Uzi? Is it shot?
Oh, so we paused there and we swapped to the others.
Okay.
So you probably haven't missed anything from
Okay.
your character's point of view, at least.
I think I've got the crossbow out discreetly. But with all the scrambling in the Uzi thing, I don't think I have a clear shot, it sounds like. So it's gonna depend really on what happens with Jem and the creature, right?
Yeah, okay. You can hold your fire for now and see how Jem deals with the situation, and then step in if it goes badly.
Yeah, if it looks like he can't manage it, I'll definitely step. But if he's like rummaging around for an Uzi and the thing's over, I don't want to like accidentally shoot Jem while he's maneuvering,
Yeah. Okay. So let's cut back to Jem then. And are you going to let loose? Give this thing, the rest of the mag in the face or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I think you can do that by getting it done. Yeah.
Sure thing. That's a 10.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, why don't you describe how this ballet of death concludes for your opponent?
Yeah, sure thing. So I think the thing's grabbed me, and I think as it's got me, and its wings are flapping. The kind of the wings on my wings sort of go a bit slack because I'm the wrong way up now. And the Uzi that I've been fighting a few shots with, I bring round and just put sort of again, pretty much center on its temple, pull the trigger until it stops, and I think it's kind of the head explodes out in like it's gory, but it's not as gory as it should be. It's like gory from the perspective of a 1980s film rather than what would actually happen if you exploded somebody's head. It's there's lots of red and splatter, but not there's just something not quite real about it. And it goes limp, and I think it's obviously the claws go limp, and I fall out and spin over and sort of glide down to the ground floor.
So from the balcony, Finn's crossbow disappears surreptitiously back into the jacket, and you give Jem a score for the landing. Presumably, it's going to be an 8.5 from the Russian judge because they're negative Nazis, but what can you do? Is there anything else you want to do from up there, Finn, or are you happy with the outcome?
I mean, it seems like he got it done, as it were. So I guess I'll like give him a look and a little salute, and I'm gonna head back towards the vault.
Okay. So down there beside the fountain, what's Sybil's thought process?
So Sybil is stretching over the fountain and hands down, clenching it as their head is down, and without turning, they say, Felix?
Well, Felix has been having some thoughts of his own. And I think probably what Sybil doesn't realize is that she's messing with the best. So while Sybil's been hunched over the drinking fountain, what Felix has done is to simply drop the 3D imaging stroke virtual reality pad beside him. And when she turns around, there are two Felixes. I can mess with the best. It's my move. When you use technology to do what you want, tell the MC what the ideal outcome is and roll plus savvy.
So the ideal outcome is
She doesn't know which one to shoot.
Okay. Or to address, whoever
Even.
knows.
Even.
Okay.
So 2D plus 2. That's 10. On 10, you do it. So it would be 7 to 9 to gain heat, to complicate another situation, or is a hard choice. But I'm hoping that I've presented Sybil with a hard choice.
So Sybil, what do you do?
I mean, what is Felix's reply? I still have not turned it back.
Oh, well, sorry, I thought you just said Felix. I didn't hear anything else.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just asked Felix.
Yes, you get in stereo from behind.
Can you figure out a log of who accessed the vault on the last weeks and what they used it to enter? This is very important.
Possibly.
Because
so both the images raise their hand computer pad, and you can see a lot of tapping about going on, and then I suppose that would be get it done with technology, wouldn't it? When you take stock with technology to overcome an obstacle.
This is more important than what is in the vault. And Sybil pulls the radio. Jem, Finn, come down with the hostage. And then Sybil turns to Finn, sees the two holograms, and they seem confused for a moment, and then kind of proud and relieved that Felix was quick on the draw. Well, you are my plan A, as I expected. We did a plan B that I don't want to do, and I hope that we don't come to the plan C, which I really don't want to try.
So I'm going to radio back since we've been radioed and say, I'm already on my way. Jem, if you're hearing this, hostages are kind of your thing. So I'm going to let you take care of that. I'll be at the vault momentarily. And then I am walking up to the vault. And I would like to take stock of the situation with the two Felixes. Because what the hell is that all about?
He's engaged in his very own Mexican standoff.
Yeah. So first I just look at Sybil and I'm like, seriously? I was gone for like 2 minutes. Like, all right, whatever. And then I'm going to take stock. I have a move that, where is it? Allows me to, when I take stock, roll an extra die, and the result comes from the highest two. So I'm going to take stock and try to figure out what on earth is going on here. I'm going to clear what's here. And for 30. You've got to be kidding me. That cannot be. Like, statistically, what are the odds? Are you all in the roll for your party room?
I'm not seeing your dice, or at least not one's labeled you.
They're not labeled because I cleared them because I get 3 for this move, so that I can take the 2 highest ones. But apparently all 3 of them are 1s.
I'm not seeing them either.
I'm happy to re-roll because that just makes me mad. I usually, like, fail rolls, I'm usually like, awesome, let's see what ridiculous thing happens. But just like 3 1s? Come on.
That seems inordinately cruel.
Like,
1 in
my special
216,
move.
I guess. Yeah.
What?
1 in 216. No.
See, this
Yeah.
is roll for your party hates me. I'm the person who usually has like 2 advances by like the second session of a game because I've rolled so many fail rolls. But can somebody do something? I'm like, that was my special move.
Well, if someone helped and they rolled a 6, that could swap out to give you a 7.
But have any of us unlocked intervene?
I have
Have
to
I-
hold for intervene. No, yeah, I have to hold for intervene, yes.
The hard
So-
question is whether Sybil wants Finn confused or not.
Yeah, I think Sybil wants Finn confused.
Okay. So,
Y'all are the worst teammates ever.
So we have 4 people ostensibly in the vault in a state of some confusion.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to
so-
radio Gem again. Now.
So has Jem picked up a hostage while Finn was working their way down to the vault?
Yeah, I think probably picked up a hostage by this point, or at least attempted to do so. I mean, it probably will just be a random person from the foyer, unless there's like obviously somebody who's like, you know, is wearing a CEO badge on their coat. It will probably just be a random person.
I think it's going to be a random person, and I'm wondering what's their pleading like, you know, in terms of please don't take me or please don't hurt me. What's their hostage modus operandi like?
Yeah, I think there's just lots of you know, general pleading for me to not hurt them, and I think you know, Jem's response would just be to say, "Look, as long as no one does anything stupid, you'll be fine."
Okay, so you are bringing them to the vault, and just before you arrive, the fountain starts to kind of quiver in your eye line, and you all feel a little bit lightheaded. I'm just going to say you take 1 harm without asking anyone to roll the harm move. What? Where do we start? Yeah, what do you do, Sybil?
I guess last time we came here, we were in the middle of Felix making a technological roll to even see if he could do it.
And that's what I will do. 2d plus 2. We take +1 forward when I all my base. So that is 10, 11, 12, 13 on take stock. What are the weaknesses? And I take 1 forward to overcome them.
Okay. What do you think you can do to overcome this obstacle?
The simple solution. I'm not getting the water fountain at all, so I'm looking at any security footage of the vault that would allow me to get some idea of, do fewer people come out or come in? Do people walk in and get carried out? Is there something arcane and mysterious here, or can I get any sense of how people open this friggin' door?
Yeah, so is it obvious now which one is the real Felix, or are both Felixes doing exactly the same thing?
It would take a very successful take stock to see a slight lag in one of the images, because the hologram is tuned to reflect what I do.
Okay. So yeah, I think you see a you see a someone who's obviously powerful enough appear in the room, a couple of days ago in terms of your footage. And now I guess what happens to unpaid interns. This intern is basically put throat first into the fountain and collapses dead a moment later, drained of all their blood. Or, a substantial portion.
Okay. Has Jem arrived with...
Yes. So just at this kind of moment of, oh shit, Jem arrives with a hostage. Probably not an unpaid intern, but
So I think I look at Jem, I look at the hostage, I look at Finn and Sybil and say, there was plan A and plan B and plan C. I think, Sybil, we're at plan B.
So you cannot do it. And then Sybil gets out again and points at the stomach of the hostage. Jem?
Wait a second here. Are we just shooting someone? I just want to make this is in character. Are we just shooting someone? Is that where we're at this point? Like we don't know if this is one of the creepy things or just a person. We're maybe just gonna murder them.
It does not matter. We need a sacrifice to enter. Jem, deposit.
Jem Sybil's acting weird, and there are 2 Felixes. Can I get some backup on how weird this is before we start shooting people?
Please, the fountain.
Jem, don't make me use my mini super secret spy crossbow. Help me out here. Can we figure out which Felix is real at least? Anything?
Do not pay attention to the Felix. The fountain, please. If you want to shoot someone, shoot it over the fountain.
Do you hear the way Sybil's talking? Do not pay attention. Just the fountain. Murder? Anyone? Is this thing on? Like, hello? We're here to pull off a heist, not just murder people and throw them into fountains.
There's only one way to get into that, into the vault, Finn.
Say both Felixes in stereo or what?
Yeah, you could try take stock to kind of sort out which one's slightly lagging.
Well, that didn't go so well last time. But Jem, are you responding to any of my gesticulating?
So what? We need to shoot this guy in the fountain, and then we get into the vault. Is that what's going down here?
Correct.
That was not the message I was trying to impart. You know what? Y'all just handle the fountain. I'm gonna go stand over there by the vault door. If it magically opens, I'm gonna go into the vault. If it doesn't, I'm gonna flee the scene because you all are crazy, and there are too many Felixes, and I think Sybil's evil. And Jem, God love you, but I'm just gonna go over there. So I walk over to the vault door, and
Hey, Finn, you can't have too many Felixes.
not even gonna argue it. I'm gonna be over here by the vault door. You all do your murderous thing that I definitely don't want to be involved in. And if it opens, I'll, hold the door open for you.
You do end up standing next to the Felixes because they went straight to the door. So that's slightly eerie.
You are less creepy than Sybil at this point, and you're also not about to murder someone and throw them in a fountain. So I'll take it.
I'm obviously entering full villainous mode now.
So, which stomach wound? I didn't know anybody had a stomach wound yet.
I'm interpreting this as the stand-in intern will be shot and then sacrificed, right? That's how I'm interpreting it.
Okay. I thought it was not an intern.
Oh yeah, the stand-in for the intern. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm exiting Bond villain mode now, so the dog has scurried away. Okay, so who is directly or indirectly killing this person?
Not me.
Sybil.
Crazy pants.
Yeah, Sybil is just going to do a close shot and pull the gun out and let it bleed over the thing. And as they shoot it, they say, "I'm sorry, but you do awful things here, and I have to do something to protect who I care for."
Did you just say what you care for? Just want to make sure I heard that correctly, Sybil.
Yes. I'm sorry, but...
Jem? Felix's? Do we know what Sybil's caring about in this situation?
I guess not.
And is it just me, or was that a random customer and not someone who does evil things here? Can someone get on board with this?
It's nighttime. There are no ordinary customers here. They're all part of this bizarre, secret, shadowy society that you've been telling us about all the time. And I've come round to your way of thinking.
Well, I appreciate that much. Both Felixes. Can we all still agree that something seems amiss with Sybil? Like, Jem, could you just keep an eye on her?
I'm keeping all four eyes on Sybil.
Or on them, sorry. I'm glad, Felix, but as the violent one, maybe at this point, I was thinking Jem might be the one we would turn to for that kind of thing. Although at this, you know what? Let's just go in the vault. I give up. I picked up a cocktail napkin one day and I made a phone call, and now here I am with whatever this is. So let's just go in the vault. It's not about to get worse, I'm sure.
So
Definitely not.
So the blood drains out of this intern stand-in, and as the blood drains, the door that Finn is primed at opens slowly, and inside there's this like bronze long corridor with these intricate things, scenes, words, you're not quite sure what, inscribed. And at the end of this kind of short room, there is like one door, like a special solo safety deposit box, which is kind of simultaneous with the vault door opening, sliding out. So
That doesn't seem too easy at all.
Felix is going to go up in the lift to the lobby.
you're leaving.
Both of you?
Before that, yeah. Well, once Felix moves far enough away, he's too far away for the pad to pick him up, so the hologram will disappear. But he's beginning to get worried about, we're running well behind time. We need to have a fallback that means that when the police do arrive, there's a chance to get off the site. So
Okay.
he's going to prep the exit.
Felix, did you manage to get the logs?
Yeah, I'm sending them now. So I'll just send them to her phone.
Thank you. This is priceless to me. And Sybil turns to the other two. Now, let's get what you wanted from here. Let's build this joint. Gentlemen?
So, who is gonna no, actually, everyone who is, looking into the vault, rolls plus steady. Everyone tells me how what they were sent to steal is mysterious, surreal, or uncanny. On a hit, I will tell you how it is similar, the same, or an approximation, or let your description stand. On a miss, I will tell you how it's worse than what you thought, now or later. So who wants to go first? I guess Felix is out of there, averting their eyes. Jem, what do you want to roll and then tell me what you come across?
Sure thing.
I really hope you're still keeping an eye on Sybil while you're doing this. I'd hate to have to crossbow her.
Cool. So that's an 8 for me. So yeah. So I think that we see Jem heading to one of the lock boxes in the vault, and again he gets his crowbar out and just prizes the lock box open without any ceremony. And inside the lockbox is a handful of ash and a kind of spectral vapor sort of emerges out and floats up probably around Jem's head.
Yeah, I'm not sure I really need to add anything to that. That sounds spot on. Although, I'm worried how I would be able to come up with something that is much worse than that. Sybil.
So I got an 8. So we flash back to that meeting at the yacht, and we see the figure there. It's someone that seems stuck between this bestial form and the human guys. And Sibyl, please, if you ever loved me, you have to help me. I turned on them. I revealed, I leaked how far they've got in one of the moments of freedom and autonomy, and they took it. They took my whatever remained of my humanity. They took it from me, and I'm going to forget everything. I'm going to forget everything that we shared, the moments, and I'm not going to even be able to ever return to that. You have to do it. You have to get my humanity back. And we get back to the vault, and we see Sibyl using an access key of one of the clients and opening what it seems to be at first a giant ruby, but this ruby seems to be beating like a heart. It seems to be leaking something oily and black.
Can I just say you all are very creepy people? Just very creepy.
Thank you, I think. Yeah, same. I think that's exactly what you find, for better or worse. And Finn, what does Finn find?
So, I think Finn goes to the box that opened by itself with the vault door, rather than some other box to pry open. And sort of looks in it, and then you see her shoulders slump a little bit, and she goes, "God damn it, not again!" And she gets sucked into the door and disappears.
So did you roll a hit or a miss on that?
Oh, I didn't even forgot that I had to roll.
Oh, okay.
I just made up an epilogue scene there. Wait,
You
what do
should
I
roll, because if you roll a miss, it could be even worse than you describe.
I mean, I pretty much just winked myself out of existence as far as we know, but if it's gonna get worse, it's gonna get worse. What's the roll again?
On a miss, you come back.
Is it just regular roll? Or
plus steady?
Plus steady, so I have a +1. All right. Here we go. So I have a 6, so I guess that's a miss.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess that's
So
a good epilogue.
it's not you that entirely that gets sucked into this. It just seems like that from your perspective. Your mind and your soul are just sucked into this box, and what the others see is your body slowly, or well, relatively quickly, desiccate and turn into this husk. And when you turn around, the light has gone out of your eyes.
Yeah, that's definitely worse. You were not wrong. I hope everyone still managed to hear my not again, though.
Yes, I'm sure that's the last
Excellent.
thing that passes your lips before they dry out. Yeah.
Charming.
Okay. Indeed. Do we want to do quick epilogues before we wrap up?
I think I'm okay with finishing like this, but we need to give Felix something.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Felix is already in the Mini.
He's driving away for. Okay.
No question.
Yeah, 2 minis. We did establish there was 2 minis.
Absolutely. The other one's on a little kind of Xbox pad, following him. Yeah, he's going to take his chance with the Chinese security services.
Okay. Okay, awesome. David, do you want to add anything from Jem?
No, I think I'm quite happy with where that ended, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I will stop the broadcast, then we can wrap up off air.